Congratulations on booking a call on my calendar. So you probably know who I am, you probably don't. So prior to our call, what I really want to do is explain a little bit about who I am, the process, what I have to offer. That way you have all the information you need to make a decision when you do get on the call. So a little bit about who I am. I'm based in Tampa, Florida. I've serviced over 400 different clients in 2021, 40 plus active clients in the program internationally. I run a five-star business on Google. And I have my certified personal trainer license, my certified nutritionist license, my certified bodybuilding specialist license, my bachelor's in psychology, and I've personally invested over $60,000 in proven strategies from top mentors and coaches all around the world. A little bit about myself, I'm right now like I'm about the only one in the space who works with sales professionals specifically. Now I've been training commercially, semi-private online. I've been a group fitness coach. I've had a personal transformation. I've been skinny before, I was fat before, and I've been able to not only help others with, not only help myself with the transformation, but also show over 400 different clients how to get the results for themselves as well. All right. Now, the kind of goals that we like to select on the call is, all right, are we going to clean bulk? Are we going to do something more of a fat loss? Are we recomping? Or are we doing some kind of strength and conditioning program? Or are we just looking to optimize our health? All right. The reason why we want to get super crystal clear on our goals is because if you and your coach don't know where the finish line is, you guys will be running an endless race that just has no end to it. So if you're someone who is maybe has a low body fat percentage, but just had does that needs a little bit more frame on them, then we would do like a clean bulk, right? We're gonna build 30 pounds of lean muscle tissue in the next 6 months. All right, if you're someone who has a lot of like high on the on the BMI index or has a lot of weight to lose, has a lot of fat to lose, we can straight up to 30 pounds of fat in 3 to 6 months. So it really just depends on how much fat you have to lose. And then if you're someone who's a little bit more on the skinny fat side, then I'd recommend a recomp because if you have, chances are the fat that you have is keeping you from actually building muscle. So the first thing we'd have to do isn't going to be clean bulking with, is actually we have to shred the fat first, and then we can start the clean bulk process. All right, that program probably only takes about like 3 months. Now, strength and conditioning, this is for the athletes, the people who they're not necessarily chasing aesthetics. They don't really care about being like a bodybuilder, but they definitely do care about performance, strength, endurance, and they want to optimize strength and conditioning metrics in the next 6 months. And for someone who just wants to optimize their health and basically just improving their biomarkers, increasing your testosterone, lowering your cortisol, improving your thyroid, metabolic health, improving your heart health. So the kind of results that you'd get from optimizing your health and selecting that goal would be if you do a more of a routine checkup on your blood work and you want to improve certain metrics, then the goal is set instead of like focusing so much on the weights, we want to optimize performance. So we look at on a monthly basis, how high can our testosterone go? How low can our cortisol go? How, if we can improve our T3 score, right? Things like that. And without the medical jargon, that doesn't make any sense. So that way you have full understanding as to how to take control of your health. Now, the deliverables, what I do offer, all right, we do a blood work analysis, we do a custom meal plan provided with a grocery list, and I teach you how to install a done-for-you grocery shopping system so that way that you don't actually have to go out of your way to grocery shop and be tempted by a lot of food noise. The next thing we also go over is the custom training program. Now, the custom training program is we customize to the muscle groups that are lacking, that need the most support. Okay. Which also brings me to also further mention that the meal plan that we create is based off of the blood work analysis that that we get back, right? So we look at what micronutrients are lacking, what metrics we need to improve, so that way that we can improve that first before we start jumping into a game plan, right? So without any awareness from your blood work, yeah, doing things on your own is kind of like driving with your head off. We also offer coaching calls on, those calls actually run for like about an hour on Mondays and Fridays, 7 p.m. EST on Mondays and 5 p.m. EST on Fridays. We have different accountability systems from joining the community coaching calls to getting virtual check-ins to having check-ins via the app to also having the ability to book one-on-one calls with myself personally. All right. One thing we've also added recently is the lifetime access to the fitness course. Okay. So not only are you going to get your results in the given time frame guaranteed, but you're also going to have an understanding of how to get the results, when to make adjustments, what's working, what's not working, having access to a gallery of different recipes, of different workouts, and that are constantly evolving and updating, and taken from different fitness and health experts all around the world from guys like Brendan Kim and more. So, and then you also have lifetime access to the private community. That's going to be both in WhatsApp and inside the course as well. So, just by the reason why is because once you're part of the Flex fam, you're always been part of the Flex fam.
Today I'm here with. What do you do? I've been working with you for like 8 months already. What results have you noticed? I gained 20 pounds in the first 3 months. Plus,
So, Michelle, these are just some of the testimonials that we've been able to do. We helped Rob over here shred off 6% body fat in 6 months while working 12-hour days and having high cortisol. We helped Michelle be able to put on 20 pounds muscle in 3 months. And then we even helped another coach as well who already had all the information and knew what to do, but just lacked the execution. So usually people, when they come to me, they come with usually one of three problems. Is either they lack information, they lack execution, or they have information and have been executing on things incorrectly. So if you fall into one of those three categories, that's mainly the reason why you haven't seen any progress. All right. Transformations like these do not take years to create. Especially if you're just shredding body fat. If you have muscle on you, it's so quick to shred off the body fat, and to be able to, once you're at that lean level, it's so much easier to keep the body fat off versus, now if you're trying to build muscle, yes, that takes time. All right. My average clients, they have been working out, they've gotten an understanding of what to do, but for some reason they've just been feeling stuck. They've tried, doing things on their own, and they look about the same a year that they've looked at the beginning of the year. All right, Exhibit A. So Justin Silverman came to me. He was in the Army. He also was an insurance agent as well, working 10-hour days, Monday through Sunday. And his stress was through the roof. He also he was obese. So he struggled with drinking. He would drink pretty often. Flash forward, and we worked together for 45 weeks. He was able to drop 45 pounds in 45 weeks. Like I promised, I told him, listen, we can drop you a pound a week if you wanted to have some balance and include a little bit of like, drinks here and there into your lifestyle. But ever since then, he was able to get a girlfriend who they're still together. He got promoted to sergeant in the National Guard. He's hit over 300 personal bests in 150 workouts. Most people will maybe hit one PR in a week, and we were able to hit 300 in 45 weeks. All right, Exhibit B, we have Devin Lee Keith. Okay, he's another insurance agent from Florida, and he was able to drop 100 pounds in 1 year. We were able to set 400 personal bests and 250 workouts. All right, this is the physical transformation. This is also the face transformation as well. When you lose body fat, you become more attractive because it shows how you carry yourself and it commands respect. Exhibit C, okay, we have Isabella Ardon, 22 years old in Florida. She's in B2B sales. She was able to gain 45 pounds in 6 months. All right, so she was struggling with being skinny most of her life. And the moment that we were able to uncover what was going on in her metabolic panel, in her blood work, we're able to get her on the right meal plan that was able to skyrocket her muscle gain, her growth hormone. And then once we got to a peak of 138, from 94 pounds to 138, we're able to drop from 138 down to 120, very lean. All right. Just about like 118, 120. So her first bulk, gaining 45 pounds in 6 months. Her first cut, she was able to shred off 20 pounds of pure fat in 6 months. That's like 20 pounds in about 24 weeks, which is perfect, right? When you shred the fat, you're able to actually see definition. Now, muscle is what creates the frame, but the shredding the process, the cutting process is what creates the lines and definition that you want to see. 300 PRs in 200 workouts. We also have Jan Eno. He's 21 years old. He also does B2B sales from Denmark. He was someone who was working out like 6 days a week. He's also did Muay Thai, and worked a pretty high stress job. We're able to have him work out less, 4 days a week, and be able to do less cardio. He used to be doing at least 3 mile runs every day. And in 6 weeks, he was able to put on 27 pounds of muscle. And that just doesn't come like magically, right? His cortisol was the number one thing that was keeping his muscle growth from happening. So we were able to lower his cortisol, increase his testosterone just from optimizing the blood work. It skyrocketed his progress. And to this day, people are asking him for fitness advice because of his own transformation, right? We were able to grow his lats, we were able to grow his delts, his arms, and his back, his chest as well. See his upper chest striations over here while maintaining his core. In fact, his core actually got more definition in the second picture. He was able to hit 150 PRs in 25 workouts. All right, so how would it look like to work with me? All right, here's how it would look. Week 0 is your onboarding. All right, you're going to order your blood work, your intake form. So the blood work is going to be ordered via Rhythm Health. It gets shipped directly to you. Take it on your shoulder, and FedEx picks it up. Okay, and if you're outside the U.S., then we'd have to partner up with a different company. But for this is mainly applies for the guys who are in U.S. I also have you fill out an intake form. Okay. This is going to help me understand more about your lifestyle, the foods you like to eat, the workouts, the days you like to work out, any movements that are uncomfortable, anything that would be important to know when it comes to structuring your plan. We also want to collect your body stats, your body weight, your body fat, tape measurements. Want to make sure you get your progress photos, and then we'll have our onboarding call to go over the plan. All right. Then weeks 1 through 4, all right, most coaches they just jump straight into a deficit, right? What we want to do is we want to ramp up the metabolism. We want to, clean up optimize the diet and clean up the diet and optimize those biomarkers. We want to adapt to essential movement patterns and want to create sustainable routines. So the reason why is because we want to have a really solid foundation the first 4 weeks. All right. Most people start to see results around the weeks 2 to 4. Now, weeks 5 to 8, all right, we're gonna be pushing you deeper into a cut. We're gonna help you maintain lean muscle tissue while the weight drops, fix any weaker points in your physique, and then we're also gonna check your blood work again at week 8. All right, by then we would have already seen a significant difference in how you feel, how you think, and your biomarkers are also gonna reflect that. All right, by week 9 to 12, we're digging and then we're peaking. So we're going to optimize the results with cardio. We're going to maintain proper hormone health and recovery. We're going to peak your physique at week 12 and do a refeed. Okay. Meaning that we're going to help inflate the muscles that we've been building. And then we're going to review the results and game plan into maintenance or into a bulk, depending on where you want to take your progress to. All right. I also offer a 100% results guarantee or you don't pay, meaning that, if you work with me for the full duration, let's say, you wanted to shred off, 30 pounds in 6 months. And if you didn't shred off 30 pounds in 6 months and you did everything correctly, you filled out you did your check-ins, you did at least above 80% of the workouts, and for whatever reason you didn't get the results, then we continue working with you for free, or you don't pay. All right. Meaning that there's a zero risk. All right. Is that we have a proven track record and there's guaranteed results. All right. And if for whatever reason you had a horrible experience, we refund you every cent. I'm proud to say that I ask you not to judge me on my winners, but to judge me on my losers because we don't have any. Everybody gets results, and I don't expect for anyone to get perfect. But if you can at least follow a plan 80% of the way through, you're going to get results, and it's always undeniable, right? That being said, my claim is that I help sales professionals and entrepreneurs shred up to 30 pounds in 12 weeks. All right, we've done that before. Sometimes it takes maybe 6 months, depending on how much on what comes back from your blood work. But depending on history, you're also going to be not only getting the physical results, the physical transformation, but you're also going to be receiving, new cooking skills. Just like any skill, you're going to learn how to meal prep and you're going to have that for life. You're also going to receive new public speaking skills. You're going to have more confidence in how you speak, during which you're going to be practicing a lot during your coaching calls and just sharing your journey to social media. We're also going to be able to optimize your time and 2x your outputs, your inputs in the same 24 hours. All right. Optimizing your greatest asset is you. It means that if you can 2x your activity in the same 24 hours, you have more life to live. All right. I have Google reviews here. If you want to feel free to check it out. Now, where do we go from here? The next steps, after once you've decided to make your purchase, is we schedule the onboarding. You get access to the Flex by Felix app, upload your progress photos and body stats, sign the agreement, and you'll start seeing guaranteed results within the next 90 days.